and Jim are on WCMH Television, Columbus, Ohio. Newswatch 4 Columbus is next.
Good morning. I'm Allison Ash, sitting in for Angela Pace, who has the week off. A Gahanna man faces aggravated murder charges in the stabbing deaths of 2 women whose bodies were found this morning in their home on Johnstown Road. Franklin County Sheriff's deputies apparently learned of the double homicide from authorities in Lake County in northeastern Ohio. They wouldn't confirm a Lake County report identifying the victims as Dorothy Nixon and Helen Kring.
I can tell you that one lady is in the rear of the house in what appears to be something like a laundry room. Another lady appears to be on a bed in one of the 2 bedrooms, and beyond that, there's not really much I can describe to you.
The place wasn't ransacked, or can you tell us?
Yes, the place was ransacked.
23-year-old Robert Kring of Gahanna, described as the nephew of the murdered women, is being held in the Lake County Jail. He was stopped on a traffic violation just after midnight. A kitchen knife found in his car led to questioning, which apparently led to discovery of the murders. The violence was not limited to the east side of the county. Marty Reed has been in Grove City all morning, where there have been 2 deaths, Marty.
Yeah, one is a homicide and another one's a traffic fatality, and it looks like it's been one of those violent days all over. It has kept Grove City Police and Franklin County Sheriff deputies busy all day long. In fact, this morning, the Omega gas station on Stringtown Road was the scene of Grove City's first murder in over a year. Dead is 32-year-old Ruth Vaccarello of Columbus. She's an employee at the gas station. Grove City Police Chief Ron Gabriel gave us what details he could.
We received a call sometime prior to about 5:55 this morning, and we have what we think is apparent homicide. Can't give you a lot of information this time. Details are kind of sketchy. The investigation is continuing.
Is robbery a possible motive?
We're not sure at this time. If we would be speculating if we said that robbery was part of it.
Within the past 45 minutes, Grove City Police have arrested a Columbus man in connection with the murder, but have not released his name. Ironically, Grove City had gone through 1985 without one single homicide. At 7 a.m., sheriff's deputies were called just south of Grove City when 58-year-old Richard C. Hanover of 3471 Casa Boulevard was struck by a car driven by Gene R. Winfro. Now, Hanover was apparently crossing the street from one bar to another when he was hit. He was pronounced dead on the scene, and deputies suspect Hanover had been drinking just prior to the accident. No charges have been filed against Winfro, and the violence does not stop there.
A busy day for law enforcement people, Marty. Another accident late last night took the life of one man and left his brother injured. 18-year-old Patrick Hale was driving a car he had just bought yesterday morning when it slammed into a tree at the corner of Rhodes and Evergreen. The car was literally wrapped around a tree. Rescuers using the jaws of life pulled Patrick's brother from the twisted wreckage. Prison inmates are still in control of the West Virginia Penitentiary in Moundsville today, and authorities say the body of a 3rd inmate has been recovered. Authorities say inmates have been destroying everything in sight as negotiations continue in the hopes of freeing the remaining hostages sometime today. An agreement signed yesterday by the inmates holding the prison said control would be returned to the authorities today. In return, inmates will get a face-to-face meeting with Governor Arch Moore to discuss their grievances. The prisoners say they're sick and tired of being treated like trash and animals. And the war of words continues today between Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi and President Reagan. Yesterday, Gaddafi was threatening war against the United States if we tried to retaliate against Libya for the terrorist attacks on the Rome and Vienna airports. President Reagan's response to Gaddafi's threat: he says he doesn't answer to fellas who think it's all right to shoot 11-year-old girls. An 11-year-old American was one of those killed in the terrorist attacks. 1985 saw the deaths of nearly 2,000 people in air crashes. But believe it or not, the head of the FAA says it's not as bad as it sounds. Donald Engan says 1985 actually rates as one of the best years ever for air travel. He says the reason why fatalities are up is because there are more planes flying. Engan says the number of fatalities per 100,000 airline departures is actually on its way down. The latest word on the crash of Rick Nelson's plane down in Texas is it wasn't a crash at all. Investigators are now saying the DC-3 made a good emergency landing in an East Texas pasture before flames engulfed the plane, killing the singer and 6 other people. The bodies of Nelson and the others were found huddled at the door to the plane's cockpit. They died of smoke inhalation and burns. A legislative report says the state should form a 13-member health maintenance organization oversight committee to monitor the growth and practices of HMOs. The study, prepared by a joint House-Senate committee, also says the Celeste administration plan to force a large number of poor people from Medicaid to HMOs should be dropped. State officials say they'll study that report. It was yesterday at this time we told you about a bizarre shooting at Grant Hospital. It turns out the man, John Peterson of Heath, turned a gun on himself. He died yesterday afternoon. Peterson's heart, however, is still beating, bringing life late yesterday afternoon to a 23-year-old construction worker in Indiana. The recipient of Peterson's heart had been waiting for a transplant for 3 weeks. He's reportedly doing fine today. The health of a 6-week-old infant called baby Moses is looking pretty good. The baby has spent all of his life in a Loma Linda, California hospital, but yesterday was allowed to go home for the first time. The infant was only 2 days old when he underwent a rare infant-to-infant heart transplant. Baby Moses, which is the name his parents have asked reporters to use, is in good condition today. When we come back, Ben Gelber has the weekend weather outlook, and the Browns are ready for Saturday.
This is Newswatch 4 Columbus. Angela Pace has today's news for you. Meteorologist Jim Goodall and Ben Gelber prepare the daily weather forecast for Columbus and Central Ohio. Doug and Mona have news for you at 5:30, 6 and 11. And Jimmy Crum has the sports you want every weekday evening. Newswatch 4 with Angela Pace will continue after these messages.
Ben Gelber's here now with the weekend weather forecast. And Ben, I don't think I like the way things are starting out here. It looks pretty bad outside.
Well, if you look at the last 24 hours, we've enjoyed our mildest weather in about 3 weeks.
That's true.
However, all mild things must come to an end, and it will be turning colder. It already is now. Temperature has been dropping about 1 degree an hour since early this morning. We're down to 35, but it feels even colder. It feels more like about 5 or 10 above, with west winds gusting to 32 miles an hour, and we have a rising barometer of 29.90. Now, if you look at the satellite photo, you'll be able to see lots of clouds around, and also a storm center, which is near Buffalo, New York. There's the storm right about here, snow falling over lower Michigan, and it's now snowing over a good portion of northern Ohio, although the snow will not accumulate much because temperatures statewide are above freezing. But this storm has left its trail of snow, some of it heavy, generally right along into the north of the storm path. Very windy conditions, generally 2 to 4 inches of snow throughout this dark blue shaded region, but locally 4 to 8 inches over parts of Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and in the suburbs of Chicago to the north of the city. That's the cold front that came streaking through this morning. That's why temperatures have been going down about 1 degree an hour. Now you can see that storm center on our larger view of satellite. Cold front to the south, warm front to the east, and a new storm is starting to form right along the Virginia coast that will bring heavy snow to New England. They could wind up with a ½ foot later on today and tonight. Clouds are still pretty thick. High pressure, though, will take control of our weather late tonight and tomorrow with cold air coming down, but it will be dry tomorrow with some sunshine. However, this storm is going to make fast tracks to the southeast and bring us some light snow, maybe a little rain mixed in late tomorrow into early Sunday. Not an important storm, but another storm to watch. Teens this afternoon to our north and west. New reinforcing shot of cold air coming in behind this latest cold front. We should stay in the 30s, maybe just above 40 in the southeast. Look at the 60-degree air up into Arkansas and Oklahoma today. We didn't see that much warm air coming up in December, but it has been a bit milder this month. The warm air pushing back across the southern half of the country. But for tomorrow, that cold air gets reinforced. The New England storm will be out to sea after leaving its wealth of snow for New England skiers tomorrow. Cold weather for us, lots of flurries around the lakes, but for us, some sunshine. However, this next storm is going to be clipping right along and be in northeastern Missouri by tomorrow evening and move across our area late tomorrow night and Sunday, probably early Sunday. And you can see the snow that will break out over the Midwest back to the Rockies and rain showers extending to the south. And we expect that light snow to move in. Now, this storm will track farther south. That's why a better chance for snow Saturday night and Sunday than what we had with this present storm now near Buffalo. Temperatures have already dropped into the low 30s in northern Ohio, 33 at Mansfield. They've been snowing most of the morning, but temperatures just above freezing, preventing any important accumulation. There are the rains that went through, mixed with a little bit of snow. Still some light showers around, and they will change to flurries this afternoon. So here's our forecast. A blustery, cold afternoon. Remember, even though temperatures are in the mid-30s, with the wind, it feels more like 5 to 10 above zero. Rain and snow showers will not amount to anything here. Temperatures holding between 34 to 38 throughout our viewing area, with the warmer readings southeast of the city. Mostly cloudy tonight, brisk and cold, some leftover flurries, nothing serious, maybe an inch or two in northeastern Ohio, low 23. Tomorrow, partly sunny, seasonably cold, 33. The normal is 35, but snow could move in as early as tomorrow evening, then taper off to flurries on Sunday, and it will turn a bit colder on Monday. But again, not what we saw in December when we were having highs in the teens and lows near zero. So the cold air is not quite as cold anymore.
Okay, Ben, what about the weather for the big game tomorrow?
Well, we want to show you our football forecast. Now, not my forecast of the scores, although I have my own predictions, but my weather predictions. The Browns at Miami, it will obviously be warm, 73, partly sunny, slight risk of a thundershower. The Cowboys will be playing the Los Angeles Rams, 64 degrees in Los Angeles, cloudy skies but dry. Then for Sunday, the New York Giants take on the Chicago Bears, 27 with flurries. New England at Los Angeles Raiders, 69 late Sunday afternoon with a shower. And we'll be covering the AFC games here on WCMH-TV.
The Browns probably won't know what to do with all that sunshine and warm air.
It's going to be nice. The weather may only be a factor in Chicago, where they'll have a little snow on the ground.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Speaking of the Browns, the Cleveland Browns say they are ready for a win over the Miami Dolphins on Saturday. Browns quarterback Bernie Kosar says the key to the game could be patience.
I think the key to the Dolphin defense is that they're very consistent. They're a patient-type defense. They don't give up the big play. They force you to make mistakes by dropping into zones and maybe waiting for you to get a little greedy. They don't give up the big play, like I said, and I think that's one of their main factors of their success.
You know, we're working through a game plan that I think can develop into something where we can make some plays and, you know, if not get the sacks, at least get in his face and make him start thinking about the fact that we're there.
You'll be able to see the Browns-Dolphins match Saturday at 12:30 right here on Channel 4. The Ohio State Buckeyes got their regular season off to a good start last night at St. John Arena. After two back-to-back losses down in Texas, the Buckeyes returned home to score a win against the Michigan State Spartans. Ohio State held a 45-42 lead through a hot-shooting first half, and by game's end, the score was 84-73, a Buckeye victory. When we return, a Japanese radish and Tokyo travelers. We'll be right back. Seen it. It's a mild white Japanese radish that has many uses. Joe Carcione, the green grocer, is here to tell us all about it.
Most of the radishes that we grow in the United States is this tiny little red root. That's the most popular of all. We grow other radishes. For example, we grow a little icicle radish, which looks very, very much like this, but much, much smaller. But we are now starting to grow more and more in the past few years this daikon. This is a Japanese radish. It's called a daikon, like I said, and this is a very, very mild radish. Japanese people will take this radish and they'll pickle it just like a cucumber. They'll shred it and grate it into many dishes. As a matter of fact, folks, 1/3 of all the vegetables that are grown in Japan happen to be radishes. And I think you're going to find that this daikon radish is going to become more and more popular in the United States because of the fact that it is very mild. And one of the reasons is if you happen to serve hors d'oeuvres, then for goodness sake, start serving daikon for hors d'oeuvres, because you can cut them up to slices. They're so very, very easy to prepare. Slices just like you would a salami, and you'll have nice, even slices of a daikon vegetable for hors d'oeuvres. This is Joe Carcione, your greengrocer, with your tip for the day.
The airfare wars are here again, with most major airlines cutting prices to just about every destination. The catch? You must make your reservations by January 8th, and you must return by noon March 20th. An example of the cut rates, most airlines can offer round trip from Columbus to Los Angeles for $238. Doesn't seem to make a difference what the airfares are in Japan. It's time for the Japanese to hit the road. Lloyd Doblin explains.
Traditionally, this is a week to travel in Japan. The accepted estimate is that between last Friday and next Sunday, 27 million Japanese, nearly a quarter of the population, will go someplace. 10% of them will head overseas, many of them to Hawaii, Hong Kong, or Taiwan. All these people will jam the airports and crowd the trains. They also will spend $5.25 billion. The travel industry in Japan has grown at least 9% a year every year since the early 1970s, and that includes those years when oil prices went up. The Japanese have become addicted to travel. They travel more and spend more in the summer, but that's spread over 3 or 4 months. This happens in 10 days. And as the sun sinks slowly in the west, the travel industry in Japan is climbing with a $48 billion year in 1985. Lloyd Dobbins, NBC News, Tokyo.
When we come back, it's Zoo Day, and Debbie Casto is here with some of Jungle Jack's favorite furry friends. It is Zoo Day, and we have 3 baby jaguars here who are growing up a little too fast. They've been attacking my feet. Debbie Casto is here, standing in for Jack Hanna. Debbie, we're going to talk today about coats, of all things.
Well, I thought we'd talk about our spotted cats and how they're being taken out of the wild and used as products, fur products. I have a purse here and coats. Only because these guys aren't going to be in existence much longer in the wild. And I just think that there's a difference that people should know about. We do over $100 million a year in this country on illegal animal products like this one. It is against the law to bring these products in the country, and they are confiscated. These were given to the zoo by the FBI. So we have an endangered species. Cargo Express is what they call it, out at the zoo now, that tells you the different products that are brought in and have been killed and taken out of the wild and used as fur products. I mean, not only, it's coats, it's shoes, it's purses, it's wallets, all belts, different kinds of things.
Now, there is a difference between killing an animal for fur and ranch-raised animals. You really like this. It goes with your outfit.
Well, that is a jaguar. This is a jaguar pelt, just like these baby jaguars, and it would take about 6 full-grown jaguars. Now, these guys are 7 months old, so in 3 years they'll be full-grown. It would take about 6 of them to make 1 coat. So that's quite a lot of jaguars. You know, Jack returned a jaguar back into the wild. One of the only people in the world to return a cat back into the wild. And it did die. It was killed off, poached for the fur.
Okay, now, do they raise jaguars on ranches for coats?
No, they do not.
And that kind of thing? But they do raise chinchillas, which is
what my other guest said.
What are
I'm
you going to do about these
to Brad.
Thank God for Brad.
Can you
believe 9 months old?
7 months. I mean, last time I put them up here on the table a couple months ago, and they were terrific. I brought our little chinchilla.
I love these guys.
Isn't this guy great? Watch him bite me. And these guys are ranch raised.
Okay.
Oh, he likes his death
Do they
bath.
live in the wild at all?
They do not exist in the wild at all. They are from the mountains in South America, and they are extinct in the wild, and they are ranch raised now, and they are used for their pelts. So, you know, they say to you, oh, how can you wear fur, and how can you do this?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's a difference between rabbit fur and cow, you know, for your shoes, and a jaguar, and just everyone should have an education and know, you know, where it came from and make your own decisions.
Yeah. Now, what is the most popular kind of fur? Is that still mink these days?
That's what I understand. I understand it was just a booming business this Christmas.
Okay. He's not going to roll over for us.
Maybe if we don't pet him.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks.
When we come back, a message for all you WrestleManiacs out there.
In their greatest ever sales event. It's their winter clearance of 13 buildings of America's finest lines, all reduced drastically. And this year, all stock purchases may be had with no money down, no monthly payments, no interest for a full 6 months, or a generous cash discount. So don't wait, don't delay. Come in now while the selection is the greatest and experience shopping in this fine old store. It's in Waldo, routes 98 and 23, and remember, it's worth the trip.
In the past year or so, WrestleMania has swept the nation. People just love to watch the wrestlers beat the heck out of each other. But there's a wrestling fan in Illinois who wants wrestlers to be gentlemen. The Illinois housewife got caught up in the fervor when Joe the Animal Lorenz jumped from the ring, hit her, and the final straw, spit on her. The woman had to be treated for injuries at a nearby hospital, and she's now suing the animal for $850 for not being a gentleman. That's our news for now, but coming up tonight on Newswatch 4 at 5:30, OSU cheerleaders get ready for the national championships in San Diego next week, and microwave cooking for the vision impaired. And at 6, the Cleveland Plain Dealer and the Cincinnati Enquirer are picking up the slack for the deceased Citizen Journal. And Coshocton County farmers are helping their counterparts in West Virginia with, of all things, hay. Say hey, Ben. Ben Gelber is here now with a weather update. What can we look for?
Well, a cold day, Allison. Wind chill temperature down about 5 to 10 degrees this afternoon. We can show you on radar that there's still just a little bit of rain. Now, if you travel north of Columbus, instead of rain, you'll be running into snow up toward Marion and Mansfield, but nothing as far as accumulating snow, maybe a coating on the ground. Our rain showers will change to snow flurries this afternoon. Temperatures will slowly drop to the freezing mark and may create some slippery spots late this afternoon or this evening. So drive with care, and then some more snow later in the weekend.
More snow. Goody, goody. Should we get out the shovels or not quite so bad?
Well, keep them handy.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. And thank you for watching. Have a very happy weekend.